Welcome to the Quick Learning channel, where a few minutes of watching, learning, and applying can earn you tips and tricks you can use in your everyday work and family lives. Have you ever been in a situation wherein you had to haggle with another person to get something done? Whether at work or at home, big and small haggling happen all the time. And if you play your cards right, you can end up with what you want. By having a quickie session with me today, I can share with you how online shopping can teach us a tip we can use in haggling. In this digital age, I'm sure you have tried buying a thing or two online already. And I'm quite sure a number of you, like me, rely on the comments and review of past buyers on a particular item before whisking out our credit cards, right? This is an understandable behavior considering that we cannot rely on our various senses to decide if we want to buy the item or not. We cannot touch it, we cannot see it in person, and at times, we cannot smell or taste it. What the seller offers us to decide on is his or her properly angled and lighted pictures taken of the item. But thankfully, there are online shopping sites which publish product and seller comments and reviews that help us sway our decisions. In one of my latest purchases online, I bought wireless Bluetooth earphones. I saw the item. I read that the product and the seller had good reviews from past buyers. So I took the leap of faith and bought the item. When the item arrived, true to the product reviews, it exceeded my expectations. But the cherry on top was that the seller included an additional wired earphones in the package. This freebie was not advertised, so it was a pleasant surprise to see another item in the package, making me feel I really got more than what I paid for. When the time came for me to place my comments and reviews on the product and seller, can you guess out of 5 stars how many I gave? Yup, 5 stars. I was actually surprised with myself. Ironically, though I rely heavily on product reviews in making my buying decisions, I rarely make an effort to do my own comments and reviews, no matter how satisfied I am on a particular product or seller. I am really not compelled to devote time for this task. So why a sudden change in behavior? The 1984 book called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, offers an explanation to this. According to the author, there is a social principle called reciprocity, which claims that it is human nature to return favors. Think about the last time someone gave you a favor. Didn't you have a deep feeling inside to return that favor as well? In my example earlier, the free earphones served as the favor the seller gave to me. Thus, when the time came for me to return the favor, I happily obliged with a 5-star rating. This principle of reciprocity can actually be applied in haggling situations. Imagine yourself haggling with another person. Your first instinct is to win over the other party, right? But learning from the principle of reciprocity, it would also be wise for you to lose first to win. Confused? Well, let me explain this oxymoron a bit further. If you appear to have lost by giving up something, the other party can perceive your sacrifice as a favor. And from what we have learned earlier, the likelihood that the other party returns that favor will be high because it is human nature. So when faced in a haggling situation, you would need to identify first your pawn. This is something you can give up at the negotiation table to seem to have lost, and then follow it up with your request. Let me give you an example. Say you can afford to offer A and B to the other party. Instead of offering both immediately, offer first A on the first round of negotiations. If still at a stalemate position, you can throw in offer B but make it seem you are compromising. After your supposed sacrifice, throw in your request to give the other party the opportunity to return the favor. Let's see now if you can identify your possible pawn and your possible request in this situation. You and your child are haggling on the number of hours your child spends on non-school related internet usage. In your mind, 3 hours a day of internet privilege is enough for your child. And you also want to request your child to fix her bed every morning. How can you apply the pawn then request technique in this situation? First, identify your pawn. What is something that you can use to make it seem you are conceding? I will give you a few seconds to think about it. You can create your pawn by offering initially a shorter internet usage time. Say, put it at 2 hours only. And if it is not acceptable to your child, offer your concession by increasing it to your maximum of 3 hours. At this point, can you think of a way to maximize the principle of reciprocity? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. After seemingly conceding to a longer internet usage time, this is the opportunity to squeeze in your request of fixing the bed every morning. Just make it sound that you have conceded and gave her a favor. You can try something like this. Since I'm giving you longer hours for your internet, would you at least help me out in the household chores by fixing your bed every morning? Let's see if you can apply this at work. You and the coworker are working on a project that will entail accomplishing 3 tasks: Task A, Task B, and Task C. You find that Task C is the most difficult. Tasks A and B are right up your alley and would be easy for you to deliver. How can you convince your coworker to do the most difficult task? I will give you a few seconds to think about it. You can say something like this: I initially thought of doing task A, but I can take in more load by doing task B. Would you be able to help with the remaining task C? There are more situations you can apply the pawn then request technique. Just remember these quickie points. Number 1, determine your maximum level which you can bring to the negotiation table. Number 2, from the maximum level, determine your pawn. Number 3, ask for a request as if you have conceded. If you like this content, please hit that like and subscribe buttons. Hit the notification bell as well for you to be notified if new videos like this are uploaded in the channel. Until our next quickie!